G'day, welcome to another episode of Shit Hotels of Australia. Haven't had one of these for quite a while, sorry about that, haven't been doing much travelling, but today we're going to do a hotel with a difference. Let's call it a Flotel, because tonight we're on Spirit of Tasmania 1, travelling from Devonport to Geelong. Let's go on board and check it out. Well, check-in was quick, but boarding was at least half an hour wait before we could board. I have waited longer. Right, so this is cabin 7033. Need to there's a porthole cabin. You can look outside onto the other side of the Mersey River to Devonport Central. 2 single beds, little chair, table, mirror, coat hangers, lights. It's quite warm, as always there's good heating, coat hook, and ensuite toilet, basin and shower. The shower pressure is adequate. I don't think I will be having a shower in terms of maximising the time that I have, because it does dock in Geelong at some ungodly hour like 6 AM, so either have a shower tonight and then put the dirty clothes back on, or have a shower in the morning and wake up even earlier. But anyway, let's go and check out the facilities. There's a cinema,
Yep, that's down the side.
which you do have to pay for.
Sit down the corridor on the left.
Thank you.
Or will be on the right.
And we have, we're on deck 7, so easy access to the relaxation facilities. We've the oldest of these ships. I think this ship was originally built to cross the Mediterranean, or the Aegean Sea maybe, between Italy and Greece many years ago. We have a bar. And then we have the main dining area. I will be dining here tonight. Here we have the tourist hub, so if you're travelling to or from Tasmania, going to Geelong, you've got the things here, and of course if you're heading to Tasmania. Little reading area. And while I don't feature individual staff members in the video for their own privacy, the amazing Tegan at reception dealt with handling my medication, which needs to be kept cold. Of course there's no fridges in the little rooms here on the Spirit. But yeah, really, really helpful. And up here we have gaming area. There we go, built in 1998. Originally called Superfast, I think. So here we are in the Deck 10 lounge. Fairly quiet. What have we got up here? Let's have a look around. Nice, another seating area. Last time I was here there was a band playing. And again, up here you can also get pizzas, but I think I'll be having the pizzas are only $14 and the carvery menu is about $30 something, but feeling a bit hungry and the carvery is pretty bloody good. Well, we'll stand out here in a bit of peace and quiet, although we do have the noise of the engine, but all those pensioners wandering around in a dazed look. You get that every time you travel on the Spirit. I mean, it's like people have never been on a ship before. But here we are, the backdrop of the Mersey River in Devonport. We'll head out there shortly. Looks like it's going to be a fairly calm and still night. Yeah, okay, so maybe we'll go and get a drink and check out the food. Okay, so we'll do a run through and see what they've got. Salads, chips, fish, carvery. Yeah, both sides. Nice. Well, the carvery here is $32.50, which is a little bit on the high side, I suppose. Maybe not really. The pizza's upstairs at $14, but this looks pretty good. I've had this carvery before, and I'm feeling pretty hungry tonight, so let's tuck in and see what it's like. Well, I had to hurriedly finish that meal because even though it was really tasty, a nice mix of salads and fish and pork was brilliant and huge amounts of cracking. There was a rather strange guy sitting at the table just across from me, motorbike rider. Don't hold that against him, but yeah, jumping up and down, eating his tea and taking his socks off and throwing them, and then picking his plate up and taking it over and putting it on the bench. Yeah, and he also, there was an older Asian woman sitting there waiting for her daughter to bring the meals back, and he sits down next to her. So when the daughter comes back with the meals, she asks the mother, "Have you found a new friend?" The mother obviously had no idea who this crazy guy was. And here's cheers. Cheers to a great trip. So I'm not sure if you can hear this poor dog barking down below. We're on level 7, I'm parked on level 6, and I'm pretty sure the dog kennels are on level 4 or below. But this poor dog's been barking like this for 2 hours now. And I can tell you what, if the other dogs in the kennels were rating this Spirit of Tasmania 1 on the Shit Hotels of Australia channel, they would not be giving it much of a pirate score because they'd be having to put their earplugs in. So it's 10 to 10 and just about to call it a night and try and get some sleep and admit the fact that the dog is still barking You can still hear it. The door is still squeaking, and the engine noise, which is the engine noise, is still going. So pop the earplugs in and go to sleep. And tragedy. The earplugs are still in the main backpack in the car.
The next morning.
Well, good morning. It's just gone 6 a.m. and we've berthed in Geelong and just collected the medication from the really helpful Tegan and about to disembark within the next 30 minutes, hopefully. I'm actually returning on the Spirit in 3 weeks' time, so staying another night. So I think I'll consider this one as a 2-night stay, and we'll do the Pirate Score after disembarking from that trip, and see whether the experience is different. Because all I can say is I hope that dog is not returning, because even with the earplugs, it was still barking all night, and must have the biggest endurance and the biggest set of lungs of any canine in the world.
Much later.
So this is part 2 of our Spirit of Tasmania review on the Flotel. So in the Geelong terminal there's actually a cafe that you can go into whilst you're waiting to board, but I've arrived at about 5 o'clock and boarding starts in 10 minutes or so, so I won't go out and go through there just in case I held up the traffic. So I'm in cabin 7032 on the return journey from Geelong to Devonport. On the port side, the cabin is exactly the same as on the journey out, except it's the mirror image. So you know what they say about the definition of posh, which is port out, starboard home. Well, I'm the opposite, and that's pretty right. There is one slight issue with this cabin tonight, in that I've been in here now for 45 minutes, and I've turned the heating up to full, and it's still only, well, it's actually cooler now than it was. Only 19 degrees. Now, I like it a little bit warmer than that, so hopefully it warms up. Otherwise, not going to be very happy. I've never had this issue before on the Spirit of Tasmania, I must admit, so let's fingers crossed that it warms up. Well, I'm up here in the level 10 top deck lounge, and thought I would check out the pizza option. And the range is not particularly inspiring, but I will take one for the team, just for you viewers, to give you an idea of what you can get as an option to the Tasmanian market kitchen. Well, one thing I will say is that the cost of the pizza, schooner of bogues and a glass of Tasmanian Pinot was cheaper than the meal alone in the Tasmanian market kitchen. But as they said that the pizza will be ready in 3 minutes, and I'm watching the chef cut it out of the plastic bag and put it into the quick warm-up oven, I'm suspecting that these are frozen pizzas and may not be particularly enjoyable. There was a choice of barbecue chicken, margarita, another one, Hawaiian, and a vegetarian. As I said, nothing brilliant. So I'm doubting that there'll be a fresh basil, for example. Anyway, here's cheers to a good meal, or a meal. Well, here is the margarita pizza, which I've already added some sriracha sauce to it, which is a nice touch. But yeah, I'll try it. $14. I can taste cheese. I can taste the base. Can't taste any basil or any tomato for that nature. And it's so bland, I'm going to add pepper and salt. And anyway, here's to a great sale. Cheers, buon appetito. So, conclusion about the pizza option? Nah. Okay, it was only $14, but it was bland and tasteless, and it hadn't added the sriracha and the pepper and salt. Yeah. So Tasmanian Market Kitchen, absolutely brilliant, but tad exy. Pizza, cheap and nasty. Next time on the Spirit, I know where I'm going. Anyway, we get in at about 6:30 tomorrow morning, wake up call at 5:45. Better set that alarm and a couple more of these to make sure I go to sleep quickly. Cheers. Tell you one thing about the top deck lounge though, it's actually very quiet here, a little bit of a contrast to downstairs on deck 7, so yeah, that's one good point for the top deck lounge. I just got back to the cabin after dinner and it's dropped down to, well, it did drop down to 18 degrees. The door's open now, it's up to 19. Went down to reception, reported it. They said they'd get maintenance to come in. Like a minute after I got back into the cabin, the maintenance guy knocked on the door. That's bloody good service. So let's hope they can fix it. Well, it's now 10 minutes later and the maintenance guy's come in. He's stuck his thermometer up there, he's tweaked it around a little bit and he's adjusted it to set it at 22 degrees, which, look, between you and me, that's a tad cool for my liking, but that might be a, let's say, there might be a down score on the upkeep issues, but it's a huge up score on the service issues. Walked down to reception, mentioned that my room was cold, that the heater wasn't working. 2 minutes later, the maintenance guy was here. 10 minutes later, it's repaired. That is amazing service. Well, it's about 9:45 and we're well outside Port Phillip Bay into Bass Strait, and the amount of swell and movement that the captain predicted, to me, doesn't seem so much. But I went for a walk around the deck and virtually nobody is in any of the public areas. So it's a bit hard to show on camera the amount of movement. The only way I thought I could actually demonstrate it to you would be to sit in this seat with the camera fixed on the table and see what my body does. And no, I haven't had that much red wine. So maybe that's not the best way to demonstrate movement at sea, but for me it's overall. But to maybe people who haven't been at sea on a ship like this, maybe it'll be a little bit intimidating. But really it's no more than you'd get tossed around in your car driving over a bumpy road. But sometimes people get really taken aback by this and get seasick and they panic, and really, honestly, it's nothing to worry about.
The next day.
And now it's time for the pirate score.
That is without doubt the worst pirate I have ever seen.
So how does the Spirit of Tasmania rack up against the pirate score? Well, first up, cleanliness and upkeep. And look, For ships that are being replaced now because they've reached the end of their operational life, having operated for 2 companies, they still are in amazingly good condition. The rooms are really, really well kept. They're clean, and really, apart from the blinds and maybe that issue with the heater, no problems with the cleanliness and upkeep. So for cleanliness and upkeep, 4 stars. Facilities. Okay, now we're judging the room here alone, and basically there were none. There was no hair dryers, no toasters, no kettles, no microwaves, nothing at all. So unfortunately for facilities, 0 stars. Add-ons. Well, it had a cinema, it had restaurants, it had bars, it had tourist centres. It didn't have a laundry, didn't have a pool. Yeah, so for add-ons, 4 stars. Entertainment and Wi-Fi. Well, in the room there was no TV. There was Wi-Fi on board, but you had to pay for it. There were TVs in the public areas, but you basically had to watch what everyone else was watching. There used to be bands on board the Spirit, but not for many a year. So for entertainment and Wi-Fi, 2 stars. Bed and bath. Okay, so you didn't really have a choice. You only had a single beds. And of course you could choose the deluxe cabin, which I stayed in a few years ago, but it's simply not worth it to have the double bed. And when you're by yourself, okay, single bed is fine. The bathroom, because it's on a ship, is going to be cramped, but it did have a shower, toilet, basin with a plug. The beds were warm, so middle of the road for bed and bath, 3 stars. Service. Look, the service on that Spirit of Tasmania one, both ways, was absolutely brilliant. From the service at reception when I had to check in my medicine to get stored in the fridge, to the service when had the problem with the heater, when the maintenance guy arrived literally minutes after I got back to my room. Service is just over the top. So for service, 5 stars. Now the 2 bonuses, value for money. Okay, so first up, the fare for me to bring my car across and be allocated a recliner chair was $358. I'm not rating it on that cost, okay? That's a transport cost. I'm not Jeb Brooks, I don't do airlines and ferries. I'm rating simply the accommodation. So to pay for the twin berth porthole cabin was an extra $199. And to be frank, that's the most expensive room that I have paid for on this 3-week trip. So unfortunately, no. For what you get for the actual room, $199 doesn't satisfy the value for money bonus, or maybe the value for money at all. And now the earplugs bonus. Well, that's a no-brainer. Okay, we're on a ship. There's lots of engine noise. There's people close by in other cabins, so earplugs in. Just remembering, of course, on the way over, I forgot to bring my earplugs into the cabin, so maybe I should give them a bonus for actually having earplugs on sale, but that would defeat the point of this bonus, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's a total for the Spirit of Tasmania of 18 out of 30. And I must say, the new Spirit 4 has arrived in Hobart to be fitted out. It's not going to come online for at least another year, because they couldn't organise to actually build the port facility for it here in Devonport, and that's another story. But I've really enjoyed my trips on the Spirit of Tasmania. Great service, great food in the Tasmanian Market Kitchen, and so if you've enjoyed this video, please click like, please subscribe, hit me up in the comments below, and stay tuned for when we travel again, and stay in hopefully not a shit hotel of Australia. Thanks for watching.
69.
Now the female chef just called out 69 and nobody went, yay! Maybe I'll cut that.